What if I told you the way you speak to yourself right now is quietly shaping every outcome in your life? Most people don't realize it, but your inner voice, those words you mutter under your breath or repeat in your mind, holds more power than any external advice or strategy. If your self-talk is negative, doubtful, or fearful, it pushes away opportunities, happiness, and even success without you noticing. But there's a surprising truth. By changing the way you talk to yourself, you can literally attract the life you've always wanted. The key isn't luck, discipline, or endless effort. It's the simple words you choose to believe and repeat every single day. Self-talk isn't just idle chatter in your mind. It's the foundation of your reality. Every thought you allow to linger, every phrase you repeat, acts like a seed planted in the soil of your life. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not capable," or "this is too hard," those words grow into habits, decisions, and actions that reinforce failure. On the other hand, when you speak to yourself with clarity, purpose, and confidence, you create the conditions for growth and success. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology explained it. They taught that our thoughts guide our actions and our actions shape our destiny. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the mind must be trained, disciplined, and directed because it holds the power to make or break a life. Think of your inner dialogue as a compass. If it points toward fear and doubt, you drift aimlessly. If it points toward strength and possibility, every step becomes intentional. This is why self-talk matters more than most people realize. It's not some vague notion or feel-good exercise. It's the mechanism through which you attract or repel the outcomes you experience. Today, paying attention to what you tell yourself is not optional. It's essential if you want to take control of your life rather than be controlled by it. Most people don't even notice the way they speak to themselves, and that's where the problem begins. We fall into patterns of negative self-talk so naturally that it feels normal, even harmless. Phrases like, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," or "this always happens to me," slip from our minds like background noise. Yet these words are quietly shaping your reality, eroding confidence and limiting what you believe is possible. Over time, they create a mental environment where failure feels inevitable and opportunities seem out of reach. The danger is that negative self-talk doesn't just affect your thoughts. It influences your emotions, your decisions, and the way you interact with the world. You might avoid challenges, hesitate to take risks, or undermine your own efforts, all without realizing that your own inner voice is the cause. Understanding these mistakes is the first step toward change. Once you notice the patterns that hold you back, you can begin to replace them with language that empowers, motivates, and opens doors instead of closing them. The shift doesn't happen overnight, but recognizing these errors is the essential first move toward speaking in a way that attracts the life you truly desire. There's more to self-talk than just psychology or philosophy. Science confirms it has a real, measurable effect on the brain and behavior. Neuroscience shows that the words we repeat to ourselves create neural pathways, patterns of thought that become automatic over time. When you constantly think, "I'm not capable," your brain strengthens connections that reinforce doubt, fear, and avoidance. Conversely, when you repeat empowering statements, those pathways grow stronger, making confidence, focus, and resilience more natural. It's like walking through a forest. The more you travel the same path, the clearer and easier it becomes to follow. The same happens inside your mind. This is why people who consciously change their self-talk often report profound shifts in their lives. They're literally rewiring their brains, but it's not just neurons. Words carry emotional weight. When you say something aloud or internally with belief, it triggers feelings that influence how you act. Confidence feels real because your body reacts to the message your mind is sending. Fear feels paralyzing for the same reason. Understanding this link between language, thought, and behavior is crucial. Your self-talk is not harmless. It's a tool of creation or destruction. Each phrase you speak to yourself either constructs the reality you want or builds walls between you and it. Before you can change your self-talk, you need to know exactly what you're saying to yourself. Most people are completely unaware of the inner dialogue running in their minds every day. It slips by unnoticed, shaping emotions and decisions without any conscious recognition. The first step toward transformation is awareness. Start by paying close attention to your thoughts for a day. Notice every judgment, doubt, or critical comment you make about yourself. You can even write them down. Seeing your inner speech on paper makes it real. Often, what feels like a passing thought turns out to be a recurring theme, a mental pattern that repeats without you realizing it. Awareness isn't about judgment or guilt, it's about observation. The Stoics emphasize this kind of self-examination, teaching that knowing your mind is the foundation of mastery over it. Once you identify the negative patterns, you can begin to challenge them, question their truth, and gradually replace them with statements that serve your growth. This process requires patience and honesty, but it is the essential starting point. Without awareness, you continue to plant seeds blindly, allowing weeds of doubt and fear to take root. With it, you gain the power to direct your thoughts intentionally, planting seeds that will grow into confidence, clarity, and opportunity. Changing your self-talk doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing words that empower you instead of weaken you. Once you've identified the negative patterns, the next step is transformation. Every time you catch yourself thinking, "I can't handle this," pause and reframe it into something constructive like, "I will find a way to handle this." The shift may feel small at first, but it gradually rewires your mind. It's not about forcing false optimism. It's about speaking to yourself in a way that encourages problem-solving, resilience, and action. The key is consistency. Repeating positive phrases regularly reinforces new neural pathways, making empowered thinking the default over time. You don't need dramatic declarations or long speeches. Simple, clear statements are more effective because they're easier to remember and believe. Consider it a conversation with your most important ally, yourself. The words you choose shape your feelings, your energy, and your focus. Small, steady changes in language can lead to significant changes in behavior and results. The moment you take control of your self-talk, you stop feeding fear and doubt and start cultivating strength and clarity. Every empowering phrase becomes a step toward the life you truly want. Affirmations are one of the most practical tools for reshaping your self-talk, but they work only when used correctly. Simply repeating empty phrases won't change anything. The power of an affirmation lies in clarity, focus, and emotional engagement. Choose statements that are positive, present tense, and specific to what you want to cultivate in your life. For example, instead of saying, "I will be confident someday," say, "I am confident and capable in every situation." Speak them slowly, with belief, imagining the feeling behind the words. When done consistently, affirmations guide your subconscious mind, shaping your thoughts, decisions, and actions. Many successful people, from athletes to business leaders, have used this method to maintain focus and reinforce belief in their abilities. It doesn't require hours of practice. A few minutes daily, repeated with intention, is enough to start rewiring your mind. The key is to feel the words as you say them, not just recite them mechanically. Over time, affirmations become more than statements. They become convictions, silently steering your actions and opening doors to opportunities you may never have noticed before. They are a bridge between your current state and the life you aim to attract. turning your inner dialogue into a tool for real transformation. Positive self-talk becomes even more powerful when paired with visualization. The mind doesn't fully distinguish between what is imagined vividly and what is real. So when you see yourself succeeding while speaking empowering words, you reinforce belief and confidence at a deeper level. Imagine yourself achieving a goal, handling a challenge with ease, or stepping into a new opportunity. As you visualize, speak to yourself in a way that reflects that reality. I am capable. I handle this with clarity. Or, I attract the right people and circumstances. Combining these two practices, speaking and seeing, creates a feedback loop. Your words strengthen your vision, and your vision makes your words feel real. Athletes, performers, and leaders have long used this technique to condition their minds for success, showing that the mind responds to consistent, intentional patterns of thought. Visualization doesn't replace action. It prepares you mentally to act confidently when the moment comes. It primes your focus, energy, and decision-making, making you more likely to recognize opportunities and act decisively. By integrating self-talk with visualization, you turn your inner dialogue into a creative force, shaping both your mindset and the reality you move toward each day. The Stoics taught that we cannot control everything around us, but we can control how we respond to it. This principle applies directly to the way we speak to ourselves. Your inner dialogue is entirely within your control, even when circumstances are not. By choosing to speak with clarity, reason, and encouragement, you create a mental environment that supports resilience and purpose. Marcus Aurelius advised treating your mind like a fortress. Protect it from harmful thoughts and nurture the ideas that serve your growth. Negative self-talk is like letting intruders into that fortress, weakening your defenses and clouding judgment. A Stoic approach to self-talk isn't about denying challenges or pretending life is easy. It's about seeing things clearly and responding constructively. When setbacks occur, you acknowledge them without letting them dominate your inner conversation. You replace complaints and doubt with phrases that reinforce your ability to act and adapt. This disciplined, mindful way of speaking to yourself transforms challenges into opportunities for growth. It aligns your thoughts with reality and your actions with your intentions. In essence, practicing Stoic self-talk means taking ownership of your mind, ensuring that every word you say internally contributes to strength, clarity, and the life you aim to create. Setbacks are inevitable, but the way you speak to yourself during these moments determines whether you collapse under pressure or rise stronger. When things go wrong, the mind naturally wants to spiral into self-blame, fear, or despair. Phrases like, "I failed again," or "I'll never get this right," only deepen the setback, making recovery harder and prolonging stress. Instead, approach challenges with a constructive inner dialogue. Say to yourself, "This is difficult, but I can handle it," or "I will learn what I need and move forward." The tone matters just as much as the words. The difference between speaking with resignation and speaking with resolve is subtle but powerful. Positive self-talk during hardship doesn't erase the problem. It equips you to face it effectively. It shifts your focus from frustration to action, from helplessness to possibility. By consciously choosing words that reinforce resilience, you train your mind to see solutions instead of obstacles, maintaining composure and clarity when decisions matter most. Over time, this practice not only helps you overcome individual challenges, but builds a foundation of inner strength that carries into every area of life. The voice inside you becomes an ally, guiding you steadily through difficulties instead of sabotaging your progress. The people who achieve remarkable things often share one trait. They speak to themselves in ways that reinforce possibility rather than limitation. Think of inventors, leaders, and creators. They didn't succeed because they avoided mistakes or fear. They succeeded because their inner dialogue kept them moving forward despite setbacks. Thomas Edison, for instance, didn't dwell on failure when experiments didn't work. He framed each outcome as a step closer to discovery. This mindset begins with the words you choose internally. By affirming your ability to learn, adapt, and grow, you maintain motivation and clarity when challenges arise. Your self-talk becomes a compass, guiding decisions, shaping habits, and influencing the energy you bring to every situation. When practiced consistently, it shifts your perception of obstacles. What once seemed like a dead end transforms into a challenge you are equipped to handle. Every phrase you speak internally either limits or expands your sense of what's possible. The question is whether you will let fear and doubt dictate your path, or whether you will consciously choose language that aligns with your goals, reinforcing the vision of the life you desire. Your words are more than thoughts. They are the tools through which you construct reality. Consistency is the bridge between knowing the power of self-talk and actually experiencing its effects in your life. It's not enough to have a few positive thoughts now and then. Transformation comes from daily, deliberate practice. Each morning, before the noise of the world takes over, set aside a few minutes to speak to yourself with intention. Repeat affirmations that resonate with your goals, visualize success, and acknowledge your strengths. Throughout the day, pause whenever negative thoughts arise and consciously reframe them. Over time, this practice reshapes not just your mindset, but your habits, decisions, and interactions. The key is patience. Change rarely happens instantly, but with consistent attention, your inner dialogue shifts from criticism and doubt to encouragement and clarity. Think of it like sculpting. Each deliberate word chips away at limiting beliefs, gradually revealing the confident, capable person within. Your life will reflect this internal work, attracting opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with the mindset you nurture every day. Consistency turns self-talk from a concept into a powerful force that guides your reality. Language shapes not only your thoughts, but also the energy you project into the world. When you speak to yourself with positivity and clarity, it influences how others perceive and respond to you. Confidence, calmness, and focus become visible, not because you are pretending, but because your inner dialogue aligns with your outward presence. People are naturally drawn to those who carry clarity and purpose, and your words, both internal and spoken, affect that magnetic quality. Conversely, negative self-talk creates tension, hesitation, and self-doubt that others can sense, even subtly, which can close doors before they even appear. The world responds to the energy you carry, and your self-talk is the source of that energy. By cultivating intentional, empowering language internally, you amplify your ability to attract opportunities, connect with the right people, and navigate challenges with ease. It's a ripple effect. The words you say to yourself quietly influence every interaction, decision, and outcome, making self-talk not just a personal tool, but a strategic force in shaping your environment and the life you want to live. The final step in mastering self-talk is integration, making it a natural, automatic part of your daily life. It's one thing to practice affirmations, visualization, and mindful awareness. It's another to allow these habits to shape your thinking continuously without conscious effort. This happens when positive self-talk becomes the default response to every situation, guiding your perceptions, emotions, and actions seamlessly. Challenges no longer derail you because your inner dialogue already equips you to respond with clarity and resilience. Opportunities become visible because your mind is trained to recognize them. Over time, this integration rewires your mental and emotional patterns so profoundly that the life you desire no longer feels distant or unattainable. It becomes the natural outcome of how you think and speak to yourself. Every word you choose internally builds toward this reality, turning self-talk from a simple practice into the architecture of your life. By consistently speaking to yourself with intention, clarity, and belief, you transform not only your mindset, but your entire world, attracting circumstances, people, and experiences that align with your highest potential. Changing the way you speak to yourself is not a quick fix. It's a lifelong practice that shapes every part of your existence. The results are subtle at first. A bit more confidence here, a little more clarity there. But as you persist, these small shifts accumulate, creating profound change. You begin to notice patterns in your thinking, recognize opportunities earlier, and respond to challenges with calm and purpose. Life no longer feels like something that happens to you. It becomes something you actively shape through the words you choose. The power of self-talk lies in its simplicity, the phrases you repeat, the thoughts you entertain, and the way you frame every situation. Each word is a building block, and with consistent effort, you construct a reality aligned with your intentions. The choice is always yours, to continue letting doubt, fear, and negativity direct your path, or to deliberately cultivate a voice that encourages, empowers, and attracts what you truly desire. This practice turns your mind into an ally rather than an obstacle, giving you the clarity, strength, and focus needed to navigate life successfully. If you want to keep mastering your mindset, watch the next video to discover the exact phrases that transform your self-talk into a magnet for success.